When I was a little girl, my mom was my very own celebrity. I couldn't wait to grow up and be just like her. A little girl and her mom, you know? The perfect fairy tale. My mother and I have a special bond, as most mothers and daughters do. I remember so much of my childhood with my mom. I remember the singing to me, some of her favorite artists, but I also remember her being very weak and tired, and nights where she would be taken away in an ambulance and having to be in the big city for long and boring hospital stays. More importantly, though, I remember when before she had to quit her job, she would come home from work and we would eat an entire jar of pickles, which I can still do today, by the way. She couldn't do big things with me, so I learned to cherish the little things. I remember this one time, she was painting my nails, and she accidentally spilt the nail polish remover on the new avocado green carpet. Ugh. I expected her to be upset or worried that Dad would be angry at the now yellow stain in the middle of the living room floor, but it didn't seem to bother her at all. See, after years of doctor's visits and being misdiagnosed with things like your common depression and the flu, one doctor came along and brought to light what she was suffering from. Wasn't long before she was sent to Loyola University in Chicago, where she was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia type 2. And at that time, statistics showed a survival rate of 30% after 2 successful stem cell transplants. That day, my mom was given 6 months to live. I had no idea why everyone was coddling me for the next few days, but I know I hated it. The "I'm so sorry" conversation happened so many times. It was so awkward. I was 6 years old. My emotions were a mess, and there was no way for my brain to process what was happening because I wasn't even told all the details. Even though my mom and dad did their best to make sure I didn't see certain situations, there's so much that I'll never be able to unsee or even understand. When I was 6 years old, my mother was diagnosed with leukemia. I, to this day, don't understand why my mother, who loved God and prayed for everyone else in the room, was diagnosed with leukemia. When we arrived home, my mother pulled my older brother and I into her room and asked us to pray with her. And I remember thinking, what is happening? Then I heard her say, "God, please give me enough time with my children for them to be old enough to understand." And while I still get so angry with God, He gave her 4 years. After a very difficult 4 years, my mom went to heaven when I was 10 years old. She had one hell of a fight, but finally let go, only moments after my dad, brother, and I left the room to go home and shower for the first time in days. As fast as we got home, we received a call and got back to the hospital even faster. No one would tell me what happened, but when I stepped into the hospital room, I knew. That moment, everything I would have become changed. This loss was so monumental, it caused a seismic shift, and the girl I was had been changed and will forever be affected by that loss. You know that special bond I mentioned? My mom and I were both born right around Christmas, so that was always a special time in our home. In fact, I'm named Carissa Noel. With all my mom's medical bills, we didn't have much money for extras, but we always made the holidays special. The house would be filled with lights and decorations. We'd bake Christmas cookies together and sing holiday songs. It was a time of joy and hope. It was a magical time of year. The same magic I share with my own daughters by making our very own special memories, and I hope that they cherish those for the rest of their lives. As much as I miss my mom, I miss the could have been moments even more. It never crossed my mind that she wouldn't be around to do all the things a mother should see their daughter do in life. But then boom, she was gone. I spent my teenage years figuring out how to grieve and process my emotions. I was raised by my dad and grandpa, and they were also dealing with, or not dealing with, their own grief after the loss of my mother. The years with mom had a warmth to them that grew colder in her absence. I locked up my feelings for a long time, and I started to grow colder and more cynical each day. And I often found myself struggling with how to express emotions as an adult, which I still struggle with today. I've learned the hard way that unresolved grief creates incomplete relationships, and incomplete relationships create unresolved grief. I've learned through life that society tries to comfort grief with logic, but grief is not logical. It's emotional. It doesn't stop after the funeral, and time does not heal all wounds. People love to tell me it gets easier, but not once in my life have I been able to justify that saying. It doesn't make me feel better, it makes me feel bitter. Every time I walked through the living room and I saw that yellow stain on the carpet, I would get angry. Why did it have to be my mom? And then I realized something. I don't remember ever seeing my mom get angry about her situation, and she never got upset about that stain on the carpet. See, she was told she had 6 months to live, and I always go back to Christmas when I think about that. No matter what, every year she got to spend Christmas with us was a gift, and even in the midst of all of the unknown, it was magical. Sitting with her daughter on the living room floor, giggling and painting nails was something to be cherished. My mother never took anything for granted and chose to be grateful for every day of the 4 years she had with us. And just like the permanence of the stain on the carpet, the importance of those emotions at Christmas time are forever embedded within me. The day I graduated high school, I was given a very special gift by my grandmother, my mother's journal. My mother started writing in a journal during this difficult time in her life to process her feelings and share things that she wanted me to know as I grew older. This has now become an essential lifeline for me, and I guard it with my life, even though it has taken me years to read just a few pages at a time. My mother's words will be there for me for years to come. Now I am a mother, and crazily enough, I am raising 2 girls of my own, and I feel connected to my children in ways that I'm not sure others can understand. I don't take anything for granted with them. I know how quickly we can lose the people we love and how important the relationships we build with our children are. I have worked hard to be the mom they need and the woman that I want to be. And even though it has been quite the journey figuring out how to be a girl mom, thank goodness for Google to answer all of those questions I would have called my mom for. I know that my girls and I have the most amazing guardian angel watching over us, and I still cannot wait to grow up and be just like her.